Welcome back, guys, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, along with the Terrible Towel. And we have a few things to talk about today, guys. We'll try to make this as quick as possible. But let's go ahead and get started. A lot of things happen in regards to playoff implications, so we'll go ahead and get started. But first and foremost, we have to talk about, once again, the offense of my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to tell you, that offense is... I don't think there's any defense in the league that can shut it down. Now, Cincinnati did a pretty good job in the first outing at Heinz Field, which is a game I attended that game, and they only held us to 10 points. Very good. Now, some could say Ben Roethlisberger was coming off an injury. He may have been rusty. Very possible. He did throw the interceptions and things like that. That definitely hurt. But for the most part, they did a fairly good job. But if you look at the defenses that we've played Seattle. We've played the Cardinals, who definitely have a solid defense in terms of secondary and things of that nature. And we put up points on everybody. You know what I mean? And once again, we're able to put up a total of 33 points, which of course 7 of those points came from the defense. But again, man, I just don't think if we're on top of our game, no one can stop us. We're going to move the chains. We definitely could work a little bit more on getting into the end zone, which we didn't as much in this particular game. Again, you have to credit Cincinnati for their defense. But we're going to get down the field and get field goals or something of that nature. Now, we're going to definitely have to talk about the weak spot. Once again, the Steelers secondary. Now, let's not, get too critical here. We did come up with 3 interceptions, which was great, and we'll talk about those. Definitely got to look at Stephon Tuitt and the way he played that game. The way he played that screenplay to get that interception was priceless, which also turned out something else. Another big, effect from that was the Andy Dalton injury. We'll talk about that in just a moment. William Gay reads the pass from A.J. McCarron, pick 6. He did a great job there. I know part of that probably was because of McCarron unable to get the ball out there fast enough with the velocity necessary, as well as having limited reads. He's going to throw to where, he's basically going to go to where he thinks his guy is open, and easy to read that. We get the pick 6. And then later on in the game, Robert Golden definitely gets the interception that pretty much sealed the deal. So we did a great job there. And the secondary seems to be able to make plays when necessary, but we still give up too many yards. Again, A.J. McCarron takes over for Andy Dalton. This guy throws 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, a deep pass to A.J. Green for a touchdown. And they continue to throw deep. They ran a lot of deep posts and, deep end routes and things like that we're giving it up too much. And it scares me. If we're able to get into the playoffs, these are the things, guys, that definitely scare me. Will we be able to sustain solid defense? We haven't really done it this whole year. Those are the things that scare me. Now, again, the offense is going to do what they do. No doubt about that. D'Angelo Williams came up big in the game, 2 rushing touchdowns. Ben was spreading the ball around. Antonio Brown, 7 catches. And Martavis Bryant had about 4 or 5, I think. Marcus Wheaton had a good number of catches. Heath Miller with 10 catches. A lot of weapons we have there on the offense. So, again, I'm not really concerned about that. But the defense is what really concerns me. We did come up with some sacks again this game, with consecutive games following up with sacks. Cam Hayward being his normal disruptive self. James Harrison was being disruptive. Like I said, man, up front, not too worried about those guys. I love that rotation. Ryan Shazier had a pretty solid game, all over the field, making tackles and things like that, running things down. Not too concerned with that area. But on the outside, once again, we saw what happens when Antoine Blake is on the outside. You saw what happened. He gets torched. Brandon Boykin did come in and play some, but you have to remember, Coach Tomlin looks at him as a solidified slot corner. So we're still going to be suspects sometimes on the outside. I think our best lineup is Cockrell on one side, Gay on one side, and Boykin in the inside. But as you can see, it seems like when we're in first and second down situations, we go with a different package and Antoine Blake is left out there by himself, which I think teams are going to exploit. The Cincinnati was able to do so. So that scares me, man. I just don't know if we get into the playoffs, how far can we go? Now, speaking of that, I want to say this first and foremost. I'm definitely proud of the team and what they've done so far at 8-5. I'm pretty comfortable with saying I believe we're going to have a winning season. I do not foresee 8-8 season. But the playoffs depends on a few things. There's a couple scenarios. We got Cincinnati that could possibly lose the last 3 games because of the injury to Andy Dalton, which is huge to come at this point in the season. What if they lose out and we win out? We could win the North, and then we slide right in there. All right? Again, I've said this before. I said we needed to win that Cincinnati game because I predicted that we could still get into the playoffs possibly with 10-6. What you want to do is get your wins first. So I said the Cincinnati game is huge because it's possible. At the time you're thinking Denver would be a tough opponent, even with Osweiler. Maybe that's a game you lose. So then you still have the opportunity to win the last 2. So first and foremost, what you definitely want to do is get those wins. And now you have 3 games left. Win 2 out of 3. You're at 10-6. Should be able to get in the playoffs. Now it all depends on the Jets. The Jets are also 8-5. As you can see, both the Jets and Kansas City are ahead of Pittsburgh right now. So we would like to see those guys lose as well. The thing about it, Kansas City will own the tiebreaker head-to-head. The Jets own the tiebreaker because of AFC wins. If we win out, we would overtake that. We have all AFC opponents left. So if we're able to win those games, we automatically would jump the Jets. That'll be automatic because we'll have more AFC wins. Even though the like opponent that we played with the Raiders, they lost to them, we won. It's because of that AFC record, I believe, is the reason why they are ahead of us, even at 8-5. So we need to stay, focused on our job, do what we need to do. Take a look at the Jets. Of course, us fans can do that. Take a look at the Jets and the Chiefs and see what's going to happen. I think the Chiefs have the easiest they have the easiest road to the playoffs. I think that the Jets will probably lose a couple more games. I foresee that happening. That's why I think the 10-6 record could probably slide us in. But we'll see what happens, guys. So that's pretty much all I got, guys. I don't have too much to talk about, this particular game. Like I said, I definitely want to give huge credit to Stephon Tuitt, William Gay, Robert Golden. These guys coming up big, getting interceptions, and just playing solid. Like I said, we can play solid defense when we want to. It's just that the secondary is just very, very suspect. Scares me a lot, man. But we'll see what's going to happen. And in terms of Andy Dalton, man, I'm sorry to hear about that. Even as a Steelers fan, it sucks. But at the end of the day, we had a lot of injuries as well. And that's why I would be very proud of this team, regardless of what happens, is because of the injuries that we've overcome with Ben. Le'Veon Bell, Beachum and Pouncey and others been nicked up throughout the season, and coming into the season, I didn't know what we were going to be. I always had the concerns in the secondary, but, it turned out to be exactly that. The secondary is the weakest part of that team along with special teams. So those are the 2 areas we definitely need to improve in. But I will say this, man, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers is a team that nobody really wants to see in the playoffs. You can say the same thing about the Seattle Seahawks. Keep an eye on the Seahawks in the NFC. They're hot right now. They're getting it going at the right time, as well as the Steelers, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have gotten it going. They've won, 7 straight games? When a team gets hot, that's when you want to watch out. So I think it's going to be a very exciting playoffs. Most of the teams in the playoffs are decent teams. Last thing, let me say this real quick before we wrap up. I think they definitely need to somehow figure out how to change the playoff format. I understand that the division guys, the winners should go, and I get that, but I think it's time to shake that up a little bit. Because there's no reason why a team, teams like the Houston Texans and the Colts are still going to fight. They're going to fight themselves until one of them comes out of that division and they're going to get in. They could possibly get in over the Steelers. That's probably going to have a better record. Look at the NFC East. Now, in that regard, the NFC, most of those teams are not playing that well either. But you got teams like the Bucks and teams like that might creep up in there and have more wins than the winner of that division. You see what I'm saying? So I think they need to try to find a way to fix that. You know, who wants to see what happened last year? Carolina getting in, what was they, 6-8-1? Nobody wants to see that. And again, salute to Carolina, because these guys are doing their thing. I'm definitely going to be, as a football fan, excited to watch those guys and see what they do. Big game coming up next week, definitely for the Giants. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they need to revisit that format. I would like to see something different. You know, let the top teams go. You know what I mean? The best records. And maybe not always, you know, it being a lock for the guy who wins the division. But I don't know. We'll see. That's just something to talk about later. But like I said, overall, man, I'm impressed with the team. I love what we can do. I'm just very hesitant on confidence when it comes to the defense. You know, I think we should be able to take care of Denver at home. You know, you got Osweiler coming in there. He's played decent, but come on, man. This is a game. We should have all the momentum. We need this more than they do. We should go in there and take care of business. And then we got the 2 away games. They're division games. So you can never rule out the Browns or the Ravens, even though they're not playing their best football. You can never rule that out. It's a divisional opponent. But that's all I got, guys. Definitely leave your thoughts, leave your comments. I want to hear what, you know, your concerns and your thoughts and what you think will happen as far as the playoff picture and all of that. Definitely leave me that. And don't forget, you know, to rate, comment, and if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. I got a lot more going on than just the Terrible Towel Tuesday. But whatever your vice is, hopefully it's something, or, you know, whatever you like to see, hopefully I have content there to oblige. But anyway, guys, that's going to take care of this edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. Still a nation. Here we go. We got a chance. Let's see how we finish. All right. Until next time, let me know what you think. Once again, guys, thanks for coming by. And if you want to interact with me live, head on over to Sim Standard Radio every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, along with Smitty and Azure Effect. The call-in number for the show is down in the description. Now, of course, for more content, go ahead and click the link above. And before you go, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. All right, guys. Until next time, lights out.